In mechanical measurement and metrology, today I just discuss about the measurement of force, remaining torque and strain that we will discuss later. As we know that whenever talk about the measurement of force, at that time the first thing come in our mind, that is definition of force, or what is the meaning of force. As we know very well that as per the Newton's second law, we are considered that force is equal to mass into acceleration, right? Where mass in kg and acceleration in kg Newton per meter square. Okay, so kg into meter per second square, or we are considered that in Newton. We know that application of force, like when, if we talk about the example, if we are consider the example like cricket match, if we are start the cricket match, then the bowler ball with some force, and the batsman can, with the help of some modification of force, either it may change the direction of the force, or we are considered that the ball same way it may resist it. Same way we are considered that pulling or pushing is also there. So that may be discussed one by one. Initially, in this whole PPT, we have to discuss about the measurement of force, where force measurement, load cell, cantilever beam, proving ring, and differential transformer, that we are discussed. As I discussed earlier, the definition of force is mass into acceleration, or the unit of force is Newton. There are many methods to classify the measurement of force, but as per the our exam point of view and as per the syllabus point of view, force of measurement can divide in these 5 types. First is balancing the unknown force against non-gravitational force due to standard mass. That the principle based on scale and balancing, right? We are discuss in detail also after end of the classification of force measurement. As whenever we are visit any shop where we have to purchase something like sugar is there. If you want to purchase, then there is one standard mass is there. Based on that unknown mass are balanced. Okay, so based on that balancing, scale and balancing is there. It may also divide in 4 types that we discuss one by one. Equal mass balance method, unequal arm balance method, pendulum method, and platform method. Okay, so each and every method has some advantage, each and every method has some disadvantage. Okay, so that we discuss later. The first one of force measurement is balancing the unknown force against non-gravitational force due to standard mass, which may work based on scale and balancing.
हाँ मैं मम्मी लाची के फीस तो भरते जगह में एक जगह एडमिशन एंड फाइनल.
Second is applying unknown force to an elastic member. Elastic member like spring, beam, cantilever beam, etc. are considered as a elastic member, and measuring the resulting deflection on calibrate the force scale or the deflection. Right. There is one example given here, that is proving ring, which most probably used in the industries. So that may be a good example regarding force measurement. And while we talk about the elastic member, that we discuss one by one. Third one is the translating the force to a fluid pressure and then measurement the resulting pressure, where we discuss the hydraulic and pneumatic load cell. Fourth one, applying force to non-mass and then measure the resulting acceleration as per the second law of Newton, which we discussed earlier. Any two things, any two quantity, one quantity is given to us and we have to find the another quantity, right? Mass into acceleration. Suppose acceleration is given to us and mass that we have to find, and then we have to multiply, so we are get the force. And fifth one, that is balancing force against a magnetic force, which is developed by interaction of a magnet and current in the coils. It is based on the electrical point of view. Now we are discuss one by one method. The first one is scale and balances. As you just see in the PPT slide, scale and balancing divide in four type, that is equal arm balance method, unequal arm balance method, multi-lever platform method, and pendulum scale, right? As I discussed earlier, and based on that it may divide in this four way. We are discussing one by one method, and then we are go for the elastic force meter, where we discuss about the spring scale. In load cell, we are discussing the strain gauge load cell, hydraulic load cell, pneumatic load cell, and LVDT. These are the talking about these three classification. Fourth one, which is very easy, F is equal to mass into acceleration. So mass is known, acceleration is known, so we have to just multiply and we are get the force. And fifth one, it is based on electrical side, so we are not discuss right now regarding measurement of force. Based on this way, the force measurement, particularly in our syllabus point of view, it may have this four method, scale and balancing, this one method of spring scale, and remaining four method, means almost 9 method if we include elastic force meter, at where proving ring is there, at where cantilever beam is there. These all are considered as elastic force meter. Now start with the first scale and balancing, equal arm balance method. As you can just see the diagram, and as I discussed earlier, at one pan the weight is given to you, that is standard mass, and at another side okay. So here the arms are of same length, right? L1 and L2. So we are considered here the moment. Whenever if we are considered the moment, then what happen? Mass, that is W1, we are considered here W1 for standard mass, and L1 is the length. So W1 L1 is equal to W2 into L2, right? We have to find this W2. So W2 is equal to W1 L1 by L2. Based on that, we are find the unknown mass. Okay, based on that, we are find the unknown mass. But we know that L1 and L2 are the same, or the length of the arms are same. So we are considered that W1 is equal to W2. It means that whatever the standard mass we are provide here, that is our unknown mass. Okay, so this is the first method. Second method, okay, in first method there is some limitation that up to 5 kg we are prefer with the proper accuracy. So it may mostly applicable at the time when we have to use in the laboratory, like chemistry or physics laboratory or in the shops. But while we have to go for the more weight, on that time it may not preferable. So on that time we have preferred this second, means unequal arm balance method. Here what happens, suppose I have 100 kg weight, so on that time unknown mass, so on that time I require the standard mass to do the equilibrium position. It require only 1 kg mass. Okay, so when the mass is raised on that time, definitely we are prefer for this unequal arm balance method. Here you can just see the figure where load arm is there, power arm is there, standard mass is attached here, and unknown mass is attached here. Okay, we are take the moment where W2 into A, right? We are consider the moment from this point. So W2 into A is equal to W1 into B, right? W2 into A is equal to W1 into B, means that I want to find W2. So W2 is equal to W1 into B divided by A. So whatever the length of A, B and W1, that we have to put in the equation, and we are get the unknown mass which may consider in the equilibrium condition. Okay, so based on that we are find the W2. Third one method, which is called as a multi-lever platform scale, or we are consider that in short platform scale method. As I discussed earlier, the first method, equal arm balance method, where the limit, there is some limitation like 5 kg up to it may measure it. Same way up to 100 kg we are easily measure with the help of unequal arm balance. But if we want to go above that, up to 1000, say up to 1000, then we are not prefer last two method. On that time we are go for the platform scale method. Here what you have to do, there is one platform provided to you, and based on that platform we are just distribute our whole mass. Okay, so it may divide in two ways. So W is equal to here W1 plus W2. Okay, and these are the lever which may support to the platform. Here adjustable counterweight, pose weight and pan weight is there. What is the function of these three? Adjustable counterweight are used when we have to convert or when we have to adjust this weight. Every time it may not directly come in zero. So to reach up to zero, we have to adjust this weight. We have to add some weight. Due to that, we are achieve this pose weight at zero. After zero, we are get, then we are start to find the force on platform, or we are considered that W. So you can just see it here, the distance that is B, the distance that is A, the tension. So we are consider here the moment that T into C. Okay, we have to consider here that T into C, and that is equal to WS into A. So based on that, at the end we are find W is equal to distance A divided by B into C means this is the whole distance divided by H means first support, the distance between first support and the lever. Okay, so we have to take the ratio of that two. It may be the considered as a constant, and it may multiply with this WS or Pine weight, that is equal to our unknown weight. Now fourth one method, that is pendulum scale. As the name, it also look like that, pendulum, where we can put the weight at the end of the whole instrument. At the end we are attached the loading rod, we are attached unknown, at the loading rod we are attached the unknown weight. As we know that it may work based on the pendulum, you can just see in the figure. Based on the figure, while we are apply the unknown weight, due to that what happen, definitely it may goes below side. On that time what happen, these equalizer bar may start to deform. Okay, these equalizer bar may start to deform. Okay, while it may deform, on that time this equilibrium bar is attached with the rack and pinion. Okay, so whatever the deflection is done of the equilibrium bar, it may proportional with unknown weight, and that may also proportional with this calibrated scale. So we are directly get this unknown weight which is equal to this calibrated scale. We are directly measure with the help of this calibrated scale. Okay, so this is the basic and very easy way to find the unknown weight. Okay, these are the four basic methods to measure the unknown force with the help of scale and balancing method. Now next one, as we know in the classification, that is elastic force meter, that we discuss now. As we know very well, elastic force meter means when I apply the force, and when I apply the force on that time, it may regain, and when I just remove the load, then it may once again come in its original position, right? It is called as a elastic member. So same thing here apply, and that is, there is one example, that is spring is given to us. If I can apply the load at here, due to that what happen, this spring may be deflect, right? So that deflection which I consider as a x. Okay, so there is one basic equation regarding the force measurement, that F is equal to K into X, where K is the stiffness of the spring and X is the deflection. Whatever the deflection we are getting, we are directly measure. Actually in current spring scale, there is, it may be digital, so we are directly get the direct deflection at here. But if we talk about this kind of basic or primary load cell, on that time what happen, we have to find or we have to measure this X, which may have to multiply with the spring stiffness, which is depends on its material. Okay, which is given to you whenever you are purchased this spring scale, on that time it is given to you. So based on that you have to multiply with this spring scale and deflection, so you are directly get the force. Now next one, that is proving ring. Yeah, very important, proving ring. Why the name is proving ring? Because you can just see the figure and it may very easy for you that it look like a ring, that's why it may consider as a proving ring. Most probably it may right now use in the industry, so its function is very important. I just show you briefly about proving ring, that the ring is made from the steel material. In the inner portion of the proving ring, the micrometer screw nut and internal boss is there, and above side of the proving ring there are two projection lugs. One is on the above the ring and one is below the ring. Okay, so due to that, when we are applying the load from both sides, right now we are applying the load from both sides, it may be considered as a compression force, right? Due to that, what happened, definitely it may be deflect, the size may be reduced of this ring on that time. Initially, when before applying the load, this reed are contact with this dial. Okay, initially क्या होगा, this reed is contact with this dial. After that, we are applying the load from both sides. So due to that, we are get the reading on micrometer scale, okay, which may be proportional with the applied load. Okay, and that we have to directly find with the help of micrometer reading. This is called as a proving ring. Another one is cantilever beam, where we have to apply the force and the length is known, so we have to find the F. So there is equation that we learn in uh, strength of material also. So that equation we have to use, where the spring constant and the Young modulus E and moment of inertia I is already given to us. So it's very easy to find the deflection in the cantilever beam. Now, load cell means it may be the our fourth one, sorry, it may be the third one, that is translate the force to a fluid pressure and then measure the resulting pressure. Hydraulic and pneumatic load cell works on this principle that we discuss now. Start initially with the hydraulic load cell, then talk about the pneumatic load cell, and then I may discuss about the strain gauge load cell. Start with the hydraulic load cell. As the name suggests, hydraulic means if you see this current diagram, then here the oil is filled. Okay, in this space, oil is filled with some specific viscosity, and that with that oil, the pressure gauge, particularly burden tube pressure gauge, are attached with it, which is very accurate. That's why we are attached. We are not attached with the manometer or piezometer, but we are attached with the burden tube because it is tertiary type of measuring device and it gives us the proper and accurate result. So it may prefer. The diaphragm is given to us. Due to that, above that, the platform is there. On that platform, we are applying the load, which is unknown. Okay, which is unknown. So what happened here? Whatever the load we have to apply at loading platform, due to that, what happened? These diaphragm may be deflect, right? So that due to that deflection, it may change its shape. You can just see the arrow. It may change the shape and look like a upward C shape of the diaphragm, and due to that the pressure is increased in the oil. That pressure, actually it may be contact with this, so that pressure is directly contact with the plunger of the burden tube. So whatever the pressure is raised, that may directly give us here in burden tube pressure gauge with some indication of the reading, and that reading is directly proportional to our unknown load. Okay, so we are finding with this way unknown load on hydraulic load cell. The range of this load cell is from 0 to 2.5 meganewton, and the accuracy is up to 0.1%. Okay, so we are get good accuracy also. Second one, that is pneumatic load cell. As we know, the name suggests itself that it may work based on the air in whole area. It may fill with the air is continuous, right? Here from this side, from this left side, we are apply the give the supply of air with the help of air compressor, right? We have to attach one air compressor, so air is continuously supply. And in the another side, in the opposite side, we have to attach one manometer, while there is one space at the middle portion in the bottom, at where we are adjust the bleed valve. We are adjust the bleed valve. Okay, and as discussed in the previous method, diaphragm is also used at here, and loading plate is also there. So whenever we are applying the load, on that time it may start to change the height in manometer. Okay, so after this bleed valve are adjust in this gap, then it may raise the height of manometer. So we are get the height, and that height is proportional to unknown load which we are applying on the loading plate. Okay, so but there is one disadvantage is that here the leakage is somewhat less. While we talk about the air supply, then there is chances of leakage. Okay, so it may not as accurate as hydraulic load cell, but we are use it when the range is from 0 to 250 kilonewton, and the accuracy is 0.5% of the full scale. Now next one is strain gauge load cell. As you can see in the diagram, in load cell, it may work based on the principle of Wheatstone bridge circuit. Okay, so this is the circuit, and which is known as a Wheatstone bridge circuit. Here what happened, the resistance are attached, and we are measure the resistance at this V0 point. How? you have to just see here R1, R2, then not R3, but it may be R4. Means R1 and R4 are parallel, while R2 and R3 are parallel. Okay, so in the exam, suppose you have to draw the figure, then you have to remember that R1, R2, R3, R4, there is not this kind of sequence. In front of R1 there is R4, and in front of R2 there is R3. Okay, and everything is work on the resistance change. Up to if there is no change in the resistance, then there is no change we are get in the output. Okay, so how and when the resistance will be changed? If there is some disequilibrium condition achieved in the Wheatstone bridge circuit in the resistance, then definitely we are get some reading. So for that we have to apply some load, and that is our purpose, right? So in current steel cylinder, this is look like this, but the internal circuit is look like this. Okay, so that's why I can provide you both the figure. In the exam you have to draw both the figure. Okay, so I can apply the force. So what happen if I apply the force? Definitely there is unbalance, or the resistance are come in the unequal equilibrium condition, and due to this unequilibrium condition, the resistance may vary. Okay, the resistance may vary, and due to the resistance vary, we are get some indication in V0, or we say that the output, and that output is V0 is equal to Vs into resistance of 0.2 divided by R1 plus R2 minus R4 divided by R3 plus R4. Okay, where Vs is the supply that is already given to us. Now talk about LVDT, very important, linear variable differential transformer. It may convert linear displacement into electrical signal. Okay, linear displacement into electrical signal. It may use for measure the force, or many times it may use for the measure the weight, pressure and acceleration also. Okay, so if you are in industry, then you may use LVDT not only for measure the force, but also for weight, pressure, acceleration. Okay, and in the structure side also we are prefer the strain gauge and LVDT also. Okay, it may consist of 3 coils wound on a single non-magnetic tube. You can just see it here. This is E1, E2, this is S1 and S2. Okay, primary winding. This is the this is not, if side view is given to, then it's really easy for us to understand, but I just show you one video regarding LVDT, so it's very clear in your mind that how it may work. It may consist of 3 coils wound on a single non-magnetic tube. AC supply to primary winding. Armature core is ferromagnetic, which may attach to free moving. Movable core coupled with primary transducer like spring bellows are also used. Initially what happened? AC current supply to primary winding, the magnetic flux is generated by coils which is distributed by the armature. So what happened? voltage are induced in the secondary winding. Due to that, voltage are induced in the secondary winding. And if the core is in the centrally, if the core is in the centrally, then E2 is equal to E1. Then E2 is equal to E1, or we say that E2 minus E1, or the difference of E2 minus E1 is 0, which is called as a null position of the armature. If armature moves towards left, if armature moves towards left, then E2 voltage is increased and E1 voltage decrease, and vice versa. Then when it may be towards right, then E2 voltage decrease and E1 is increase. So whichever is higher, it may come first and then the second one. So based on that, we are get the unknown quantity with the difference of higher minus lower. Right. So this is just talk about the basic of LVDT. I just show you one video of LVDT, and then we proceed for the next phenomenon. Actually, this is the last point for force measuring instrument. I just explain with the
बड़ौदा स्पोर्टिंग गुड्स
इंडियन लिखा है।
अच्छा, पर
Today's
hope so screen is visible.
going to learn about linear variable differential transducer, that is LVDT. It is used for measurement of displacement. It contains a cylinder made up of bakelite. On insulating cylinder, two windings are wound called as primary and secondary windings. The primary windings is wound at center of insulating cylinder, and on either side of primary winding, two secondary windings S1 and S2 having equal number of turns are wound. Here the direction of secondary windings S1 and S2 are exactly opposite to each other. Inside the insulating cylinder, magnetic core is placed, which is free to move in either of direction. When AC supply is given to primary winding of LVDT, it produces magnetic flux which completes its path through secondary windings S1. While completing the path, flux produced by primary windings of LVDT linked to number of conductors of secondary windings. Therefore, according to Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction, EMF is induced in secondary windings. When core is at center position of insulating cylinder, magnetic flux linking to coil S1 and S2 has same value. Therefore, EMF induced in coil S1 and S2 are also equal, so that the differential output measured between two secondary terminals is 0. Here, when core is moved towards left side, then flux linking to coil S1 will increase. At same time, flux linking to coil S2 decreases. Hence, EMF induced in coil S1 is greater than that of S2, as a result of which output measured between secondary terminals is in phase with primary voltage. When core is moved towards the right side, then flux linking to coil S2 is more as compared to coil S1. That is, EMF induced in S2 is greater than EMF in
Okay, almost it may easily understand. There is some issue regarding internet, but whatever I can explain earlier and in the PPT slide, same thing they may apply it here. So we are considered that the LVDT is used in many ways, like to measure the force, voltage, displacement, and also to measure in the pressure. Okay, so these are the basic about force measurement. Now in the next lecture, we are discuss about the torque measurement. If you have any query regarding force measurement, then your query is welcome every time.